Oh, hey, it's Mike Lepre, the King Michael. This is legit paranormal. Something's missing. Don't know what it is. Oh, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is Sunday night. We're going to have a good time tonight. This is going to be a very different style show. It is now 7:07. It is 9/4/2022. There's absolutely nothing I can think of for the math geeks. Joining me, as always, Joey Paranormal. What's up, Joe?
Oh, not much, man. Not much. Imported myself from Boston today. Been out and about, moving around since 9:30. Just got home, feeling full, feeling good. Got a beer of the day ready since Buddy's not here. I figured I'd step right in. So,
I'll tell my story. So how this goes. All right, this is a nice little story for anybody that goes back and listens to this. Maybe I'll snippet this. So, our guest Erik Knapp was supposed to be on like a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you remember, and he canceled on Buddy. And I don't know what we did, but we rescheduled somebody. We slipped somebody in there, and Buddy rescheduled him, and then Buddy rescheduled him for tonight. Now, Joe, it looks like me and you will be doing the wrestling show right now. But so my point is, tonight's and I know this is like so cliche, but tonight's my fantasy draft, right? It's like the old school, the corrupted fantasy league. It's just brutal. So I got to be ready for it. And so I found out what the show is tonight, and I'm like, buddy, can you reschedule? Like, he's like, no, we have to do it tonight because the guy rescheduled for us. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, but you're not going to be there. He's like, yeah, I'm going camping. I'm like, all right. And then I find out today. Now, today I have to work on an intro. You know how I do. I get things ready for the show, but I'm also getting ready for draft. I'm taking my stuff serious. So I find out you might not be on the show. Now I'm pouting. I'm like, what the Christ? Like, I got to do the show by myself. So I even contact a couple people. I'm like, literally, like, can you guest host? They're like, guest host? Like, yeah, can you guest host? No, everyone's like, no one can guest host. All right. I make the thing. I get ready. I figure it's going to be me and this guy, Erik Knapp, right? So I find out that Joey Paranormal can make it to the show. I'm like, oh, all right, that's great. As soon as I find out Joey Paranormal can make it, though, Erik Knapp messages me and says, sorry, I can't make it. Family member in the hospital, somewhat serious. I messaged Buddy earlier in the day. And our good friend Buddy has not checked his messages, has probably been drinking and fishing to the point where he doesn't even remember that he does a show called Legit Paranormal. So now there is no guest tonight, right? And Buddy made sure this show is scheduled. Now, Joe, here's the thing. I could cancel this show last second. Could have canceled it, right? But I'm not. And I'm not for a reason. Now I'm a little angry. I hope that like Eric's okay, his family member's okay. I really do. That's the first thing I hope, right? But I'm not used to not having guest show. Like in the 86th, this is now the 86th show we've done. That's why I'm doing this. If we would have missed this, we would have slowed down our pace.
86 was almost a good year.
I think we hit maybe 86 or 87. We hit 100, I think, on December something. Buddy has it mapped out. So I'm not missing a show. Just not doing it. I'm doing it. Right. So so here we go, Joe. Here's the thing. Anybody that's watching or watching live on any YouTube channels, Legit Paranormal, Legit Podcast, Legit Fantasy Sports. If you want to join the show, let us know in the chat. We'll send you a link. You can join our roundtable forum. We'll take live questions. We'll take live guests to pop in and pop out. Feel free. So the floor is open. Anyone watching right now that is live, just drop us a comment. We'll send you a link. You can join the show. Okay. With that said, now, Joe, I'm gonna put a little. Too bad you're not in control of like the graphics. We got to figure this out where like I'm not running like everything for every show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what kills me with StreamYard is I wish that and maybe that you can. I have to look. If I did some deep diving, like maybe two people can have control over the show instead of one. Because there are times where I would love to have a little ticker at the bottom making fun of you because I feel like it's very one-sided. You're only able to make fun of us through that little ticker. And honestly, kind of irks me a little bit. Sometimes I want to poke fun at the bear and I can't because I can't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's I was trying to explain to someone that might be joining us for a vacation planners. I was saying the thing you have to realize that if you end up in an argument with me, I do control all the buttons. So and I'm prepared. You know what I mean? You know this. It's kind of
Yeah.
tough. It's like you're in my house. It's like the old school Boston Celtics. You're in the what are you gonna do? You're in the garden. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Or the Meadowlands, where when the
Yeah.
Giants used to open the doors whenever the opposing team was kicking.
Yeah.
They would open the back door so there'd be a gust of wind that would come through.
Or are you going to complain that you don't have hot water in the visitors' locker room?
Yeah.
There's no clean towels. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. But so anyways, as I go off track here. So back to this paranormal thing. So here's the big thing that's developed. Legit paranormal. We've been around now for 86 shows. That's ridiculous, right? We've gotten to interview crazy amounts of people. Now it started with the genius, myself and Buddy, and the genius went to Oregon and started his own bank. And then now we added you, who is Joey Paranormal. I mean, how do you not add a guy with the last name Paranormal? I mean,
Allegedly.
how often do you meet a guy with the last name Paranormal? Like, I was like, buddy, we got to get the kid that's named Paranormal, Joey Paranormal. Like, his last name's Paranormal. It fit too perfectly.
Well, it was either you added me or I sued the show for using my last name. So
exactly, legit Joey. By the way, you need to make a T-shirt that says like old school Steve Austin, just black and white, legit Joey. and on the back you could put like whatever. I said it as 713. Put Lepre 713.
I was gonna say instead of 316, it'd be like 369 or 420 or something stupid.
I just said it at 713, so put 713 on the back.
Hey,
all
before we keep going farther, can I do the beer of the night so I can crack this bad boy open?
Yeah.
All right. So since Buddy's not here, it's the same one that I had last week. I haven't really gotten to the liquor store, but it is Narragansett's IPA Music Express. Back when I was younger, my early 20s, Narragansett Lager was always my go-to because I was broke, but I still wanted to drink. And if you're at a bar, the best thing you can do is get a Narragansett Lager. $2 tall boys, you'll be set for the night. Now that they brew in Providence, they have a lot more options available to us here locally, and their IPA is delicious. Music Express. A little bit of ASMR for everybody. They cracked this bad boy open. And that's how you do a beer of the day.
Week, Joe. Week.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. Maybe that'll be your thing, but it doesn't suit you.
Yeah, exactly.
You did the beer of the day. You did the beer of the day. He does beer of the week.
Beer of the hour.
Big difference. All right. So let's go over this now. So we started this thing, right? And I had a lot of questions for Erik Knapp because I watched an interview that he did. Now it was a strange interview. It was him, and I guess it's his wife, girlfriend.
Yeah, something like that.
And did you see it? Where they're in the cemetery?
No.
Some woman sits down and interviews them in a cemetery. It's got like it's got a weird audio. It's almost like it's produced, almost made like an iMovie, but when they're it looks like we shot the beginning of our. I mean, not to compare it to our movie, Joey.
Our award-winning film.
For the record, by the way, it is yet to come in the mail, but best use of the line, the dialogue line that they gave everybody, right? All teams. We won the award for best use of the line of the dialogue line. Which, Joe, I just want to know if you win the best award for best use of a dialogue line, how does that not incorporate into best writing?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, in that, like, the story was bad. I mean, come on. Like,
the film that won, didn't they get best writing too?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that I'm not going to get into it, but
nope.
It's very disappointing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't disappointing. Again, you know, it's weird. Again, we didn't care about going in, but when we made it, what happened was we ended up with a really good film. Maybe we'll show it at the end again. It's a really good 7-minute film. It really is. And what we did showed me that like we need to do more films. We need to do more production. I actually, after I watched that film, I know you think this is crazy, but I sat there and I thought to myself, I know I could do a low budget movie. I know that I could map out like a low budget film. I bet you I could at least make an hour horror film, because with horror, it's all about how you shoot it, what's going on, what the topic is, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm willing to bet you that we can make a horror film.
I'd want to do found footage, because all you got to do is just use GoPros and cell phone cameras, and with the quality of the GoPros and cell phone cameras, you're set. Just get a couple external microphones and good to go. Because that was our issue.
Don't give it away, but I agree with you. Yeah, that's the kind of thing it would be. But like, it doesn't have to be. Look at me. It doesn't have to be a horror, straight horror. There's such things as horror comedies, which, we would be very good at. like a mock kind of like a horror where it's almost comedic.
I like Cabin in the Woods.
I want it to be where like you're in the woods or we're in the woods and it's like me and you, like say we're like, I'm like we're in the cabin, me and you, I'm like, Joe, it's good that you came out, it's good. I know things have been rough, and you'd be like, things are fine. And you're like, and like you see out the window, you're like, what the fuck? No. You'd be like, no. I'd be like, what Joe, what's the matter? And it'd be tapping on the windows and tapping on this window, and you'd be freaking out, and I'd be like, what is it? And then it's like, it's my ex-wife. You know what I mean? and I'm like, I start calming down. Like my part of the film kind of slows down. It's like not as frantic. It's like, dude, what's the matter? Just go answer the door. Just she's knocking. Go but when it cuts back to you, it's back in that horror style. Like,
cold sweat. I'm just covered in sweat. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like that's what I'm talking about. We could definitely film a horror comedy like that, where we make the horror things that are really scary in real life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, dude? Like come around the corner is what really scares you.
Oh, I got you. So we got one where you could maybe get pulled over by a cop, right? You get your license and registration. As he comes back, he's like, hey, I just want to let you know your registration is going to expire next month. And then bam, you start panicking. You're like, oh my God, I have to go to the DMV. I got to schedule a DMV appointment. I got to go sit there in that line. I got to wait for everybody. And boom. That's scary.
Yeah, but that's not scary. That's more depressing the way you pitch it, because like it would have to be where he's at the DMV suddenly and he's standing in the line, and then he freaks out and he comes back to where he is. You'd have to put him in the moment. We have to actually show what's really genuinely scary about stuff. Because to me, at the DMV, the scariest part is just having to sit next to people who cough the whole time they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And people who, for some reason, think that when they enter the DMV, they do not have to watch their children anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm at the DMV. Let the kid run. What do you mean let the kid run? There's no sign at the DMV, as far to my knowledge. I'm not 100% on this. Not 100. I'm pretty sure, though, this is not a sign that says at the DMV, you now can let your kids run after this line.
No, they can just bounce in and out of the little booths while everyone's getting their license and whatnot. I'll tell you though, for me, the DMV is actually a pleasant experience, because I go right up to that blue line where it's for like returning customers. I just flash my military ID and they go, oh, sir, just fill out this paperwork. Before I'm done filling out that paperwork, I'm already getting called. My number's already getting called. It's the reason why I joined the military. It's the best perk ever. It's the best thing.
Yeah. All right. So here's a legit paranormally scary event I had at the DMV last time I went. Right. I had to take Junior to go get his license. I don't know what this was. It was like the second time he had to get it, whatever it was. It was like about a year ago or so. I know I told the story once, but it was like about a year or so ago. And you get called up to stand in the next line, which I think is such an embarrassing thing. It's such a control thing. Like, hey, my number got called. Okay, now I get to stand in this short line. Thank you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anyways, I'm standing next to this kid. I told you the story, and I said to my son, what's Forrest Gump's email password? And my son's like, what? And I'm like, 1 Forrest 1. Right now, right? Now that's a dumb joke, but I like those jokes, especially in public, right? So, but the kid next to me, who I didn't realize until after this event had Asperger's. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, it's close. Asperger's.
Asperger's?
I could be wrong too. I'm not sure. I'm not a clinician.
Allegedly. Anyways,
Allegedly.
he turns to me and he said, "Did you just say Asperger's? Or Asperger's? I'm sorry, I pronounce it." And I'm like, "No." And I turned from him because he was loud when he said it, Joe. And he follows it up with just as loud. I thought you just said Asperger's. So now I can feel people starting to turn to us because he, like I said before, like maybe 10 seconds ago, was loud, right? And I can't stress that one enough. So I have to turn to this kid. I look him dead in the face and I said, "One Forest One." And he goes, "What?" And I said, "That's what I said to my son. One Forest One." That's Forrest Gump's password for his email. And the kid's looking at me and goes, he wanted attention. He wanted people to stare. He was trying to create an event. I'm not joking. I had that impression of the whole thing, the way it was going down. Because as he would yell stuff, he would like look around to try to get people to like look what's going on. Because then he went, "Oh, because I thought you said that." Well, I said, "Well, I didn't." He goes, "But then I said, well, I didn't." And I said, "Well, I didn't." And then he stopped and I turned and it ended, Joe. And now, Joe, that's not maybe scary to most people. But to me, that is, because if I don't control that situation, this kid turns that into a who God only knows I'm on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, serious. Like little things like that turn into big things. So it's like that's what's scary about the DMV. You in the DMV, God only knows the story you come out with. Like if I would have told you I would have come out with a story like that, no one would be like, "Yeah, right." No, but at the DMV, you might. You could see a unicorn. Literally, a person dressed as a unicorn. All right. Other things to talk about. So, anyways, since we've done the movie, the short film, the award-winning short film. That was actually, you saw the write-up by Chris Sparling, who's the guy who wrote Buried. He wrote ATM. Attica. There's the one thing that's on now that's really good. I forget the name of it, which is bad for me. But he liked it. Great response. So now, Joe, we do the show. We're adding the show on Monday. That's going to be bringing back the vacation planning, paranormal vacation planning. The podcast itself, legitpodcast.com, is expanded. We actually have now legitparanormal.com. It's not going to work right this second. You're going to have to give me until Tuesday because GoDaddy owes me an explanation. But we have 3 different websites and 3 different YouTube channels. So now you can just see your paranormal stuff or your sports stuff or your odd other stuff in the middle. So no more complaints, Joe, from the people that were complaining. That's how you stop them from complaining. You just give them what they want and they shut up, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess acquiescing is always the way that people like to interact with their podcasters. You know, when you give in, it makes everyone feel a little more warm and fuzzy inside, and then they push harder, and they push harder, and then they push harder.
Yeah, that would never happen here. That's why this would never get that big, because you know that. It's never gonna happen. It would only be like people that understood the whole idea of the show. It's kind of like my whole idea for the gimmick bar, the real Barfunkel, like how I would have people act in character. Like that's the idea of the show. And if they don't understand that, then I don't know how to explain that to them. Because if they think that on our birth certificates it says King Michael and Joey Paranormal, and if they don't think that we're gonna draw some sort of R from our names being the way they are, like we don't, as if we don't know what we're doing, like, you know what I mean, like at the show we did at the parlor, do you know how many people came up to me to ask me about the name and like make fun of the name? And it's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, well, why are you king? Like, why is it King Michael? Like, why is it?
Who died and made you king?
I'm just like, because it's just always been. I'm like I want to tell people because it's older than you.
Yeah.
The name has always been like, what do you want me to do? Like, that's just the name it is. And I know you don't like it. I know that it's kind of a pompous name. It was supposed to be. It was never, it was a rap name. I mean, Name a rap name that's like what's it called when you're self-deprecating? Like, how many self-deprecating rap names are there? They're
Jazzy
not.
Jeff.
No, but that's not deprecating. You know what I mean? It's like they're all like supposed to be hyping you up. So what the hell? And then what about Joey Paranormal? Why is he Joey Paranormal? Like, why is he how? What? And I'm like, because he just is. Well, what do you mean? Well, why is he? He just is. I mean, I don't know what else to tell them. Like, you know what I mean? It's like those are the answers I have for people, and that's why I'm not a good person to come up to and talk to, because I don't have a lot of answers. You know what I mean? I know you know that. I mean, I don't. I'll tell you one thing though, Joe. I did teach you a card trick last night.
Yeah.
You did not believe that I had a card trick on that level, even though once again, I told you, and I don't think you quite believe me.
So dude, you picked the right audience because I'm a sucker for magic. I know it's obviously not real. Like I'm not that gullible, but the skill.
Well, wait a minute. Magic is real in the sense of the art of magic.
Well, yeah, and making people
happen.
believe that the impossible could be possible.
Yes.
And I love that, and I love sleight of hand, and I love just the showmanship. And so seeing you play it out like me, I was being a little bit more of an a-hole because it was just me and you, shooting the shit. And I'm watching you as you do it. And
Joe,
I'm like,
I don't think I wasn't reading you.
Yo, I know. Because you're sitting there and you're like, oh, it's not this one. It's not this one. I'm like, man, this isn't the trick. Like, I know where you're going with this. And then you put it between my fingers and I'm like, I hate you. Because I know that I didn't see my card and now I'm going to freaking see it. And yeah.
And the way that it came out of your fist perfectly, bang. And they all hit the floor, dude. And you didn't want to look. You didn't want to look. You looked at me
because I knew.
You looked at me as if to say, "Don't tell me that it's this one." And I'm like, "Yeah, look."
Yeah, it was good. It was a good trick. I'm gonna practice it myself because I'm not good with sleight of hand. I'm kind of a bumbling idiot, as you might be able to know. I hit my microphone every time I move my hands. I'm not Italian, but I think honorarily I'm Italian because I talk very visually.
That should help you. Here's the two key things about magic, and this goes into like almost paranormal-esque. One, you have to make eye contact, force eye contact when you need to make a move with your hands. If you look someone right in the eyes, they have to look you right back. It's an actual human reaction. I used to tell. I know this is strange. I used to tell my son as a point guard because he was so fast. Right before you're about to make your move, lock eyes with the defender. If he locks eyes with you, you will now have a split second to go left or right, and he's not going to be able to catch you. Because dude, I'm telling you, if someone looks you dead in the eyes, you kind of have to go. And for that moment that you do this, it's almost like it's a weird thing that I can't explain it. But there's like, if someone's standing across from you and they're staring you in the eyes, you immediately look them in the eyes. Because it's almost like, is this important? Like why are you looking in the eyes? And once I get you to do that, I now, like everything else in life, once I get you to look here, I now just got the chance to move this here. Bang, I'm ready to do the next part of it. Now I look like a bumbling idiot. Now I'm showing you dumber cards, and the whole time I'm doing it, same thing. But I mean, I would love to have magicians, people that do like magic, or people that believe in real magic. Because here's the thing, here's where I'm getting at with the paranormal, right? People, they want to go ghost hunting, they want to do this. I see some of ghost hunting as just like almost now becoming like country music. Like in other words, I like country music when it was Billy Joe Shavers, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, right? Outlaws, like real country raw, right? But now there's country music where it's, and I of all people have to say this, even though I'm making fun of myself. Now country music is all just sleeveless guys with cowboy hats, right? Singing rock songs, but like light, so they sound like country. Like I call it country arena. Like it makes no sense to me that they call it country anymore because it doesn't remind me at all of like what I like for country, what I still listen to. You know what I mean?
So this is totally unrelated, but just because you brought up older country, because those where you were kind of describing as more bluegrass, like a southern bluegrass, like that. That's kind of where country evolved from. It's a little, I know, like Johnny Cash isn't really southern bluegrass, but like the Outlaws definitely have more of a bluegrass root to them. There's a band It was on a YouTube show. The YouTube show is No Cover. It's on Sumerian Records YouTube channel. It was really good. It's basically American Idol, but for rock music. It had Alice Cooper, Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm, Davin Rossdale from Bush as like judges. There was a band that won called the Native Howl. Mike, if you've ever wondered what Metallica mashed into a blender with Kentucky bluegrass sounded like, it was this band. They called themselves Thrashgrass. And it was the most mind-blowing thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Do you like Volbeat?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Volbeat years ago. I'm not so much into them now.
I love everything they've done. I love the evolution they've made. I like where they started from. They're in my top 5, maybe top 3 bands all time because I know every single song. Like, they're one of those bands that get past you. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. Like, you go, well, who the fuck? And then you're like, they had 2 more albums? Like, where was I? Like, I caught them like a while back, but still it was like 2 or 3 CDs in, right? He was in a death metal band. He was like a death metal band singer, and that's what they were, because they're from Denmark, right? They're Danish. So
yep, so black metal sounds about right.
Yeah, but he's got a great voice.
Yeah, he does. I'll give you that.
He's not good. Well, it's great for what he does. He's not good at English. If you listen to the very first couple of songs, there's a very distinct at the end of all his words. Almost not correct English. Like, he's got a hard stop to his words. Like, I think Heaven and Hell might be one of them. I'm trying to think back to the original songs from the first CD. But you could tell he still had that, like, his native language. But dude, now since then, I guess whoever the guy was that was producing them, now is a guitar player from either Anthrax or come on, help me. He was one of those.
Scott Ian?
No, they didn't get him.
That's the guitarist from Anthrax.
All right, so then it's not Anthrax, but it's one of those big metal bands that has guitar players like that. I can't remember who it is. It's one
Kerry
of those.
King, maybe?
Look up the guitar player for Volbeat while I'm doing this. But anyways, that guy was the producer for a bit. And then he realized, like, they didn't have a lead guitar player, so he just ended up joining. And now he wears a hat like the hat I wear. And since he's joined, they've gone like everywhere with music. They had Clutch.
Rob Caggiano?
Yeah.
Or Michael Poulsen?
No, Rob.
Because Caggiano was in Anthrax. All right. Yeah. I'm
so
looking at it. Yeah.
Producing them, and then he was like, I'm joining the band. And once he joined, dude, his guitar solos are sick. They're sick. They've always been sick. So now to have like the lead singer and not have to play guitar.
Yeah.
The sole guitar player. I always thought that is hard for a band when that's your main guitar player, the singer. Like, because there's only so much. When you get somebody else that can just be, doing solos, they're incredible, Joe. They sing about cowboys and angels and devils, and it's the greatest thing.
On your point about the lead singer not having to play guitar, one of the bands that I'm really into called Dance Gavin Dance. They have had 3 lead singers in their like 10, 15-ish year career, and the last lead singer that they had was none of the people that I listened to him with really liked him. His voice was overproduced. He could never match the notes that he hit live. It was very awful. He got hit with kind of a scandal where the band kind of kicked him out, and their backing guitarist had the voice of an absolute angel, and he's in another band on the same label that he fronts. And his voice is just godlike. It's such a good voice. They went on tour. They got kicked off a tour with Coheed and Cambria because of the scandal with the lead singer. They booted him, went back on tour. They got some dates from places that were, whatever, they could get to. And they actually moved the lead singer, moved the backing guitarist to lead singer, and brought in another guitarist to play his spot so he could just front without having to play. And I thought that was such a good move because you want to give him that freedom to be able to command the show and not have to sit behind the guitar. Billy Joe Armstrong, I think, suffered from that a lot with Green Day. Being kind of trapped behind the guitar and not being able to play to the crowd as much as he probably could because he was like a maniac.
What about the band Genesis, Joe? You remember the band Genesis?
Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel?
Yeah. Do you remember how that situation worked out?
Yeah,
Peter
didn't they?
Gabriel,
Wasn't there
Peter
infighting
Gabriel.
because they wanted different things, and Phil Collins
Listen,
wanted to do one thing, and
listen. Peter Gabriel was the lead singer of the band Genesis.
yeah,
Phil Collins played the drums. He's a great drummer.
yeah, he is.
He's literally a great drummer, but he wasn't the singer. So Peter Gabriel wanted to do solo stuff, and he did some great solo stuff right off the
Oh, I
bat.
love Sledgehammer.
Yes, and when he did do that, though, they're like, "We need a singer," and Phil Collins is like, "Dude, I've been singing back up, and I can sing. Let me sing." But he played the drums, so that's another like weird thing. He's a great drummer. That's the tough part. You got to take a great drummer out and make him the singer, right? And it worked. But then Phil Collins had to go on a solo thing, and you know what? In retrospect, Phil Collins' solo career was so corny.
Mhm.
It was just so it was good. The music I can't is it's good. It's just oddly good. I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's good because I've heard it 4 billion times, but it's oddly good to me. I just don't the videos and stuff don't hold up. Let's get off Phil Collins, please.
I was just about to say too. That's all is like one of my favorite songs, but yeah, we'll
like
pivot.
I've been told before. Let's get off Phil Collins.
Heyo.
So ow, itch. So Joe, I get an itch. I hate that. God help us. Can't reach.
You need a
So
scratch and stick,
no,
man.
I can't do it. So Joe, so here's the thing. I was listening to actually George Knapp's interview, and I think his wife or assistant, I'm sorry, was saying how she was like it's the children voices that bother the most, and like how she like felt bad about that she was visiting this place where this girl died in a fire, and the girl always walks around him, tries to play with a ball, and she left there feeling sad, and that's where I feel like I I don't know the goal of paranormal. Like as me being me, I want to know from everybody what is the goal of all this? Because here's my thing: do we not want to gather information to put it all together, to figure things out, to be able to go a step further to figure out more information? Right? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
the goal of everything? Okay. Secondly, wouldn't we and shouldn't we all agree that there's some basic things in life that are just they balance the scales of life. Okay. Meaning, bad people that do horrible things, they get punished. They should get punished, I think, for a certain amount of time and then forgiven. I don't care what it is actually. I think throughout all time, everyone should be forgiven for no matter what it is they ever did. Because you have to be forgiven eventually. That's what I think. Anyways, let's get back to this. What I was saying before. The kids. I refuse to believe that there's kids that are spirits still on the earth or that we can see or hear. I refuse to believe that they're really kids. I don't think they are. I don't think it would be right for listen how much sense this makes because it doesn't make any sense. And then if you explain to me, I would love it. A little kid who does nothing wrong dies in a horrific event, and then its spirit is going to walk that same horrific event area for all eternity. And there's nobody in this whole paranormal world that can't get over to that house and send that girl upstairs. No, for real. Like really?
So, all right. I think it kind of depends on your view of the afterlife and how that kind of happens. I think I've said it before on the show. I'm not religious, so I don't necessarily believe in like the heaven and hell type deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've
All right,
always
just moving on.
what?
But just moving on in
Well, so
general.
I've always kind of liked the idea of almost like reincarnation, like that you kind of go through a gateway and you kind of become something else, you experience
Okay.
something else. But anyway, I think that it's possible. The way I look at it is the reason there are children spirits. It's not because they're stuck here. It's not because someone's not letting them cross over. Like imagine being a child, you get left in a store by yourself without your parents. You have no idea where they are. What do? Do you sit there and go, I'm figuring out what to do. I'm going to find my parents and I'll save the day like an adult? No, like you cry and you freak out. So I would think that as a spirit, and a child that gets, killed in a car accident or, something bad like that, if they're still around, it's probably because they're just scared of that next step. They don't know what they need to do next. Maybe there's some kind of thing they need to do to cross over, and they just don't understand that. There's no one there to show them
But there it is.
where to
There it
go.
is. There it is, though. Crossing over. That's the whole thing. Is there a thing called cross? Is it really?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Can you really cross someone over? All right.
Well,
Because
and I don't think we'll ever know. There are people that'll tell you, yes, oh yeah, they definitely, I could definitely help people cross over, and that may be true, but honestly, as me being as skeptic and as grounded with the way I think of things, like I've still never met a medium who could come up to me and go like, who's never met me, who has never known anything about me, and can say and can tell me things about my life and tell me things that are going to happen and all that stuff. And I know like buddies experienced that, and that's great. But I've never experienced that. And
you're not as readable. You realize that, right? And I'm not being a jerk here, but I'm telling you by somebody who does this. You have, and no offense to this, more generic appearance. Like I can't look at you other than your Red Sox hat right now and read something off you, right? Whereas I can look at Buddy's face or head and look at him, and I just get a feeling from him. Especially if he smiles. Like there's something about Buddy that's like changes him. He goes from this scary looking guy to this like teddy bear looking guy, right? And they read me easy like a billboard, literally. So I get it why it's tougher on you. But I think they read too.
Yeah, and so that's my whole thing is I also don't know if I fully believe that someone living can help someone dead cross over. And we'll probably never get concrete proof of that being a thing unless I live with the spirit and then someone came in and said, I'm going to help him cross over. And then I never was bothered by that spirit again. Right, it's so just hard for me to believe some of these things. So, but personally, I think that's why if you encounter a child spirit, I don't really believe like it's the devil, it's the demon, it's this evil thing. Because for me, again, like if I'm not religious, I can't sit here and be like, I believe in demons if I don't think that.
So then it is a little kid. So this little kid gets to die and be stuck bouncing around because it doesn't know better. And nobody wants to smarten it up. Nobody wants to smarten it up and send it on his way.
I mean, I just think it's their energy. And again, like I think there can be very negative and evil energies. I don't necessarily consider that a demon, but then again, everyone calls it something differently. Every religion has their own word for it. Every person has their own term for it. So I think with children, yeah, it's possible that if you encounter a child spirit, you hear children, there's reports of children being in a haunted location. I think it's very well possible that they're just like a normal kid who's lost in a superstore and just doesn't know where to go and what the next step is. And they just sit there and cry.
No. I say hardly no. And I say to the entire paranormal community, no, dogs and kids go directly to the next level.
I hope you're right. I hope
they're not. There's no negative. There's no negative thoughts in their heads. They go to the next place. There's no way that it would make sense for them to suffer and then have to suffer longer. Because my thing is this: because if that's the case, then we do need to move them on. And then what I really think is, let me tell you this: where good has passed, evil will be created. Because Joe, I totally believe in total negatives, right? Everything's positive and negative. I keep saying that every week. So where good has passed, evil can be created. And what I'm telling you is extreme good died, right? So extreme evil probably could be born at the same time. That's where I believe that there's everything has a positive and a negative. So when you lost that child, yeah, there's a demon that took that place of that child with the voice to inhabit that area, to relive that pain because it's enjoyable to it, and to try to trick others. I think the child itself has moved on and it's no longer there.
That's actually an interesting. That's actually really interesting. I've never really thought of it in that way.
You've never asked. You guys never asked.
Yeah,
you don't.
We still haven't gotten your shirt yet, man.
Yeah, you guys. You guys never asked me my opinion.
I do the tech stuff. A t-shirt's not necessarily tech, so you can't blame me for that. I'm advocating for it.
No, but what I'm saying is you guys don't even ask me questions. Like no one ever asked me on my opinion.
Yeah, because you're asking so many other damn questions. Why would we ask you a question? We see you every week.
That's true. But I just gave you my opinion of how things work. I'm a big everything's one side or the other. It's two sides. So that's what I think that you're hearing. What
you just said is a lot to chew on, and I like it. That's a good that's a good like hypothesis. That's a good like thing to put out there. Like it. I mean, that's possible again. Like, and it's totally plausible. that children do pass on, and it's just an evil spirit that kind of fills that spiritual void and
Listen,
takes that.
it's an extreme good having something really bad happen to it. I think in only those moments, just like when like somebody's stuck like in a civil war and you die, I can see how a soldier comes back because it's comfortable as far as like that's where he fought, and he's connected to that like whatever. I get that, but a kid I think is different. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I think that when it's pure like positive, and when have something so evil happen to that pure positive, I would think that's the one moment where pure evil could get in here because pure positives are going straight up there.
Yeah. That's actually an extremely good idea.
Explain. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's for someone like myself who's not necessarily religious, that could also explain very well how negativity enters the world, or evil or darkness, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, you
It's
know,
always there. You just got to let it in.
yeah.
But for extreme evil to be let in, I
Bray
would think
Wyatt?
for extreme evil to be let in, I would think you have to let in like I would think that something good would have to
Well,
happen.
it's almost like
Bad
the
happen.
absence of light. It's almost like the absence of light breeds darkness. So as soon as light's extinguished, darkness will take that. The darkness fills that void.
Yes. But like what I'm saying is for like kid situations, it's because it's an extreme
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's
That's why when people say that there's paranormal dogs, I always think, how did that poor dog die? Because like that's not a real dog. There's no way that dog came back. That dog went
I
to
tend
move on.
I tend to think if you're experiencing any kind of animal that's of paranormal nature, like the hellfire, the black cat that they see in I think it's I don't want to say Scotland or Ireland because I get those two. I think it's Scotland where the Hellfire Caves are and the Hellfire Club. But like I think whenever you see, if you do happen to, or if this is something that happens, because I've never seen a spiritual or paranormal animal of any kind. I think if you see something like that, it's probably not there to rub up against you and say hello. It's probably a bad omen.
So see, that's where I'm getting with all this, right? I
But I do want to interject really quick
all right.
that at least the only experience that I can put forth that wasn't mine, but it was through someone that I very much trust. It was my mother. When her dog Rascal, he was a mini pin Dotson, he passed away. The very next day after we had to put him down, she swears on her life she was sitting in bed watching TV, and he used to he it was distinct the way he would jump up onto the bed and walk up next to her, and she swears that she sitting there almost like just felt something land on the bed and kind of walk towards her, and then that was it. She
Can I ask
swears
you
that's what
one
she
thing,
felt.
Joe?
Yeah.
How long did your mom have that dog?
Oh, we had him. I don't know. It had to have been probably between 6 to 8 years. And he was probably already 2 when we got him. He died. It
So
was
for like,
cancer. It was a
so
Dotson.
for,
So
so for like 6 to 8 years, your mom was used to him doing that exact jump, right?
yep.
No offense to your mom.
Yeah, it's like
I'm not
phantom
saying she's
pain.
wrong. I'm not saying she's wrong, but I could totally see imagining that exact feeling moment, whatever, at that time, because that's what happens at that moment in that
Kind of
time.
having like phantom pains when you have your
It,
leg
yeah, it's
amputated or
almost
something.
like it's almost
It's
like
instinctual.
yeah, that's what happens at all the time at this time of the day. It's just how it goes.
It's very possible.
But I could be wrong allegedly. Whatever.
Alleged. Yeah, we're all
So,
probably wrong.
but so what I'm saying here, so now as we start to break this down, all right, people are paranormal investigators. Now, what are we investigating? Are we just trying to get um proof or our own something to showcase people so that we can go to conventions? Or are we all trying to figure out what's going on and actually trying to put our heads together to see if we can go a step further? Because it seems like there's people that know more, like Barry Fitzgerald, than other people. Like, so why are we all not on the same page? And are we not investigating? Are we not trying to figure out if this is really real or if there's more behind this? Or is it really just that people, they're like, it's real because they had personal experiences and they just keep it to that, but yet they tell everybody else that it's real. And then when you really get and ask them questions, it's because they had a personal experience. But so you're going to some people go places to be scared, or they go to have maybe a ghost tap them, or they go to maybe catch a voice. I mean, that's what you guys do. I get that, which is cool in its own sense. But I guess what I'm saying is, where's the next level of like, yeah, let's put this together and try to figure out if really if what we got is real and not real, or let's really try this. Like, let's really look into this. Like everything from cryptids to everything. Like let's get some people to get like no, really, because you know what it is. I think why people won't do it is they're afraid of the backlash. No one wants to be the guys that go around and you know what I mean. They pop like 8 out of 10 little kids' balloons at a birthday. You know what I mean? And be like, all right, we like these 2 balloons. We've proved that there is helium in these 2, but these other 8 pop, 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 pop. Is that why they won't do it? Is that why people won't explain it? I'm being serious here.
I'll tell you firsthand. I love being the guy that pops the balloons. Actually, it happened recently with Buddy, where it's someone that we've investigated their property before. They lived, I think, in Lincoln, and they had a video of like what they were like. They were like, we were woken up by this screaming woman, and we don't know where it came from. And so Buddy plays the clip for me. They heard it. I forget how they recorded it. It was like one of those sleep machines where they're recording themselves as they sleep for some reason. And I'm like, Buddy, you know, where is this? This is in Lincoln. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, do they have foxes in Lincoln? Are there like red-haired foxes? And we look it up, and they're common in that area. And I'm
my
like,
area too, which connects to Lincoln.
And I'm like, so now let's go to YouTube and let's look up what they sound like, because I've heard that before. I'm guaranteeing you that's a fox. And they thought they had a great EVP of a woman screaming. And I'm like, that's probably a fox. But to answer your question, for me, I pitched this to you guys. I would love for Legit Paranormal to start a blog where we just have locations that people have investigated, and we just invite other investigators to just blog your experience and share your evidence. You know, your evidence is yours, and you can copyright, do whatever you want. No one's going to steal it, or if someone does steal it, we'll know where it originated from. But like, just collectively share everything, because
you know what I came up with?
What?
You know what I came up with? You know what the biggest bugaboo about all that is? Putting the location on the internet.
Some places aren't going to allow you to do it, which is tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't put the exact location of where it happened
unless the so it would work.
You don't want people going there.
Yeah, it would work more for places that are open to it.
That's why it doesn't work, Joe, because the real stuff happens at places that are not open to it, because that's the real stuff. I don't know how else to say that. Like, you know what I mean? Like the real stuff happens while I'm staring you in the eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like while we're showing ghost, now I don't want to say ghost hunters, but I'm just using that as a term, ghost hunting. Like people come up with these shows and that's what you watch, but the real stuff is happening and it's terrifying. I think Paranormal comes off as very happy, to be honest. Everyone's been, they all talk positive. Everyone always talks positive.
Well, if you've watched Ghost Adventures, it's not very positive. They're always like, possessed demons possessed.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't watch that. I apologize to the makers of that, but I do not watch it.
Every other person who's into the paranormal who's watching this show knows exactly what I'm talking about. And they're like, those guys.
So I don't go that way either. I don't want to go that way either. Like, I'm telling you, a show where people go and they look for stuff and never find anything all season long would be such a hit, because they would root for those poor losers to find one bit of evidence, right? And we would show them like how they were like, they couldn't pay the bills. They just could not find anything, any proof of anything ever, right?
About to lose the office.
But then we got to have the last episode be like a big deal, right? Like we'll hype it up, or like there's a door that slams. We'll show Buddy's scared face, like, and it'll be like the final episode. We'll make people go for like 13 weeks. And we never find anything, right? Just one episode every week, like 30 minutes. We got to watch it. They think we're gonna find something. We never find anything, right? Big finale, Joe. I want a big ass finale where at the very end of the show we find nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing, right? And as the credits roll in that final episode, we need to be sitting there talking about how we found nothing, with all kinds of shit walking behind us.
Yeah,
as we just don't pay attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good premise.
Would show us sitting at the bar laughing about how, like, can't believe we didn't find a thing, and then it's like we'll have like Dave Evans dressed like a white ghost with powder all over him. We don't realize, and we go, oh! And it just
Old Civil War soldier in black and
yeah,
white
right.
just sitting behind him. Yeah.
Would that not be a great show?
Yeah.
We
I'll
find nothing.
I'll tell you what the worst thing is in real life though is we recently investigated a location a couple weeks ago, and the worst is when you're there and you get a couple little experiences, but like you so correctly pointed out last week, when you say out of the corner of your eye, I mean, what is that really? It's just your peripherals, and they could be just playing tricks on you because your eye, out of that corner, anything can happen.
Anything happens.
We were there for probably 3 or 4 hours, and honestly, it was very uneventful. And that's I think a lot of things that people will admit it now because they it's just not as cool as it used to be. But like a lot of times we investigate, nothing happens, and we're just sitting there talking to ourselves in the dark. And whenever anybody asks, "Oh man, that's so cool that you're a paranormal investigator," I'm like, "Well, I really just sit in the dark and talk to myself and hope that I hear something hours later." But we go to this location and we really don't have anything going on. But then in our conversation on Facebook Messenger afterwards, Dale's like, I have so many good EVPs. And now granted, we'll whittle that down and we'll, probably, especially if it's buddies, I'll definitely hammer Buddy for all the crappy ones he has and the one good one. And I hope he sees this eventually and he hates me for it. But, it is crazy how you can sit there and hear nothing and just be bored and just be sitting around and you just bullshit amongst yourselves. And then you go and do a review and it's like, there's actually some really weird stuff that we didn't hear that's picked up, opposite where we are.
Okay. So now you're getting to where I'm at. So I don't think it's investigating or ghost hunting. All right. Like, I think on the next level, there should be investigating. To me, that would be trying to really figure out what everything is and putting everything together. I don't think that's what like these teams that we talk to, no offense to you guys, do. Although what's cool about it is it's almost like ghost hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, it's
ghost
I think
vibes.
what's great about the paranormal scene and investigating is the camaraderie, the community. I think that's the actual best part of the whole paranormal world, especially in this whole New England East Coast area. It's meeting the characters. Now, they don't all work together, but they're all great characters. Like me, I go right down the middle. Like if you get a problem with me, it has nothing to do with my paranormal beliefs because I'm not telling you what they are. But what I'm trying to say is like I think that's what the best part is, like being part of the team. Like I like that. I like when I talk to people and they're like, I just started up a new ghost team, and I'm like, awesome. And they're like all excited about he does this and he does that. He's in charge of this. To me, it's oddly like starting a band. It's like people tell me about how they just started a band, and I'm always happy for them. But it's like I don't know if I'm gonna want to listen to their music. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm always happy people are in it, but it's always like, well, what are you really in it for? Like, you're kind of ghost like hanging out and you're trying to get ghost evidence, which is kind of cool. That in itself is a fun time. And I think is pretty cool as long as you're not like being a dick. You know what I mean? Like if you're just going someplace and hanging out and letting whatever happens. To me, that's where the fun is. Like let's go to this place, which someplace that's supposed to be really haunted. And let's just chill and be in different areas. And if anything happens, it does. Let's not go looking for it in the sense of like, when you're looking for it, it's like, hate to bring this always back to sports, Joe. You ever notice when someone wants to make a pass so badly, they don't throw it correctly? They're aiming the whole way. The release is off. It's like at the very end, like, I gotta make it. It comes out wrong because you over aimed it, or you're ready to swing a baseball bat and you're Jeff Bagwell. And you're squeezing so hard that sawdust is coming down on the plate, right? Because you're gonna swing, you never do well in the playoffs because of that. Like you're too hyped up. Like I think that's. Does that make any sense? My analogy right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that happens to me a lot too, because I go into places just like hoping this is going to be the time. Because I'll be honest with you, it's been years for me since I've had a real paranormal experience on an investigation. When I first started, and I was just kind of like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, oh, this is great. I've been watching this on TV for so long, and now I get to do it. I actually had some really interesting experience. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, the last probably 3 or 4 years on the, investigations we've been on, the only place that I've really had an experience in that time frame has been Varnum, and we haven't really been there. Other areas, there was one location I can't say the name of, but it's the only place that I ever actually thought we were going to be murdered at.
Have I dampened you?
What?
You think I've dampened you
No,
by
it's not you. I've said it before. I have a very thick veil. I don't believe in a lot of like spiritual stuff. I'm not very spiritual, so I think that for me, like it just things don't get in, and it has to be very blatant. Like I have to hear footsteps when I know nobody else is moving, or hear a chair move and look down, and Buddy's
so
standing there like 3 feet from it, and the chair
so
clearly moved with no one being around it. That kind of stuff.
so here's the thing. So here's the last issue, and I know I sound like I'm griping, but I'm really not. I'm really just coming up with questions that I don't think get addressed.
Well, this is what happens when you leave us to our own devices for a
Oh
whole
no,
hour
no,
or
no.
two.
I think I've made some pretty decent points so far. I think I've made
I'll say one of them was very good.
some questions that people don't want to quite ask, right? But whatever. My other problem is this: the paranormal people that are in the paranormal world that have had experiences, that have talked to other people that have had experiences, right? They think that that's universal, so they speak sometimes as if like, no, duh, like of course this is real. Like you got to understand. I don't care how big the paranormal community is. The rest of the world, if they listen to it, they're not going to really believe it. Like, of course, people believe you when. Listen, Joe, the show we did at the Parlor was great because we took people out of their element and put them in front of people that, God forbid, might boo. Like there was actually look, they didn't, but in other words, they weren't at a convention and they weren't just speaking to people that were hush that wanted to hear every word they had to say. So they had to get people's attention, which some could not. And it was awesome to watch because it's a learning experience, hopefully for them, that you have to control a crowd sometimes. They're not always going to be there just to see you and sit there and
Yeah.
listen. So that's why our show went so well. That's why on the 27th of October, Joe, back at the Parlor, we will be doing a show. It's going to be legit scary stories. We're going to have people come up and tell legitimate scary stories. Now, I know Buddy's going to book a couple people specifically to tell scary stories. However, I'm also going to do kind of a sign up, an early sign up thing. And I'm hoping you can help me with this. We'll figure out something. People can email us, sign up if they have a legitimate scary story, right? And then they can tell it on stage. We'll have like an open mic hour where people that sign up, you can either sign up in advance. It would be if you sign up in advance, we can put you in order, but you could actually sign up that night. They got to be scary stories. If you go up there to tell a funny story, I'm gonna really get up there and lay into you because it's about scary stories for real. Like I keep saying, I said that not to be a jerk, but it was like you don't want to do that with me. I said that I was like it's not gonna be worth it because it'll just go on the whole time and none of us will win. It'll just get ugly. It's just how it goes. So I know who I am, so I'm just like, well, let them all just tell scary stories. And I think people, I know that people have scary stories and they want to tell them. I know that, especially if they start drinking. So we'll go have a night where we got to get a bunch of those fake light up candles, right? Because I want to spread them around the stage this time. You're going to help me because you're going to be there. You're going to help me with the damn show because you haven't been present. You've been Joey Parano show, and if you didn't show up tonight, I was going to be like, that nickname might have to stick. Like we might have to start incorporating that. So like I'm thinking, make it more darker in there, right? We put more tables in. We'll have a blast, dude. Getting drunk hearing scary stories would be awesome. 3 or 4 days before Halloween. So we're gonna do that too.
We should see if we can. Do they have like a kitchen in there or something, like some kind of like food prep and making area?
Yeah,
Or just bring in. What we gotta have? We gotta have s'mores, man. It's be like sitting around a campfire telling scary stories.
Yeah, it's true. And by the way, what we need by then is Buddy to finally go to one of those breweries that he buys all their beer. He's the only one who buys their beer. He must support their whole company. Tell them, hey, could you take the cheap label that you make that costs you nothing and just make it black and put on it legit paranormal brew? Right? Just start making those. We'll drink them on the show. We'll drink them live. We'll sell them at the friggin' Parlor. I'll get the guy. We'll make an agreement with Greg. We'll sell them there. Everywhere we'll go, you can order our beer. Who the hell would not drink our beer, for crap's sake? Joe?
I don't know if you want an honest answer.
Paranormal brew. I'm telling you, man. Just trust me.
I guess depends on what it is.
Hey, what are you going to say to wrap it up?
Not much, man. Trevor Story hit a 3-run home run when I was at the Sox game. Got me pretty amped. Tristan Casas got his first start in the big leagues. Looked pretty good. Kid's got a good swing. Played a good first base. It was a great afternoon. Glad I could make it back here in time for the show. Especially since it was just me and you. You know, I actually enjoy our one-to-one conversations. The legit wrestling coming back on Thursday. I am not golfing on Thursday, golfing on Wednesday specifically so I can not miss the show and be Joey Para there. Joey Parrot show
Parra
Joey
did.
Jerry. I got nothing.
It would be Joey Parra did show.
I see, and that's why you host the show, and I just come in with the little quips.
How are you? So I think it was weird last night about the guy with the mustache from the White Sox and how that all played out. Like
Dylan Cease, yeah.
wasn't that weird that how that conversation happened?
I thought it was weird that she's just like, oh, my whoever is
telling me about that guy for so long, and I don't know who he is.
Honestly, he's probably winning the Cy Young this year in the American League. Like he's been the best pitcher in the American League this year.
So I should ask for like a bat, a ball at least, right?
It'd be a good piece of memorabilia. The kid's good. I personally want. I've been looking into getting his memorabilia as well because I like the kid. He's just a really good pitcher. So
and I didn't know who he was. That's really weird.
Yeah, Dylan Cease
last night were very odd. And come on, Bafangul is a pretty good bar.
Yeah,
I mean, like
I had a good time.
Right, like it's a good setup I got going here. You know what I mean? We got plenty to drink. There's plenty to do. There's different areas like you can go watch the game. Right?
Yeah.
This is the place. This is like I wish I could make this really a place. But so before I wrap up, Joe, I just want to let you know I'm going into the draft tonight. I have the 10th pick in the first round.
Oh, God bless you.
First pick in the second round, which is technically the 110 and the 113.
Yep.
Then I don't pick again until the 5th because of reasoning.
The keepers and stuff.
There's 12 teams. 12. We each keep 6 keepers.
I hate 12-team leagues, man.
You know how deep that is, 6 keepers? So, it's hard to have. We start 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, a tight end, kicker, defense. So 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, quarterback, tight end, kicker. That's what we start, right?
That's a tough league, man.
So going in though, right? Here's my 6 keepers. Quarterback, I kept Aaron Rodgers. You got it. 3 running backs: Miles Sanders, Travis Etienne, and Dalvin Cook. I gotta, Joe. Right? They're all solid. Kyle Pitts as a tight end. 1 wide receiver. It's Jalen Waddle. That's a young, talented team and guys who can score with Rodgers, Cook, and all those other guys. I draft at the 110 and 113, Joe. I'm predicting to you right now on this show. I hope no one is listening. I hope none of those other guys are listening, right? If they're not listening, I actually wrote down who I think I'll end up with what.
You want me to use the swear button so it kind of like redacts what you're saying?
Joe,
I know you can't answer me because you're super far away.
I'm so confident that none of those guys are watching the Paranormal show. They're actually scared of the Paranormal show, right? All right. In my area where I'm about to pick, if I'm looking at wide receivers, I should end up with 2 of, right? Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Mike Thomas, Marquise Brown, Godwin, and then for rookies, Pickens, Burks, and maybe London, and maybe Tolbert, maybe. And Thielen and Lazard are also in there. All those receivers are going to be in my wheelhouse. I want to end up with Cooper, Mari Cooper, and Jerry Jeudy.
Yep.
If I can get someone better, I'm going to go better. But if I can get rookies, I want Pickens the most, followed by Treylon Burks. I also like Sky Moore from the Chiefs.
Yeah, Sky Moore just I think is injured though. I think he's out.
I know, but I still like him.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And I'm not joking about this one. I have, with that second pick in the first round, there's a part of me that wants to take Jameis Williams, the wide receiver that's recovering from the ACL surgery, the one that the best receiver by far in the draft,
Yeah.
but got hurt. So this is a keeper league. What do I care about if he's hurt this whole beginning of the season? By the end of the year and next year, he's going to be the bomb. That kid's wicked talented, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I take that kid. I don't know, because maybe someone will take him before the 5th. I don't get to drafting until the 5th. So I need to get 2 receivers, young and old. But I'm going to end up with Cooper. I would love to end up with Cooper and Judy. If not, Joey, I'm going to tell you this. I might end up with Pickens, hell, and Burks. I might end up with 2 rookies right there. So
I mean, Judy
and Cooper.
Judy and Cortland Sutton, I think, are going to have a huge year, especially now that Noah Fant's not on that offense. So I think you can't go wrong with either of the two.
Judy is much more talented of a person.
But I think, but Sutton's still kind of that established veteran. I'm just saying, I think both are going to have great years with Russell Wilson. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Joe. Well, I know I'm right on this one. So
I might be right.
Watch how this plays out. I'm telling you. I just told you those 2 pairs. Those are the 2 guys. I'm going to either go one way or the other. So, for the missing buddy money there. For Joey Paranormal, it is me, Mike Leopard King, Mike L. This was Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. We will see you again next Sunday. Enjoy your extra day off tomorrow. I think you all have it. Isn't it a holiday, right?
Yeah, Labor Day.